Welcome, Sketchbook Heroes, Sketchbook Warriors. We've got cubes. Yes, cubes. Cubes are the most important box. You could say actually more important than the box. Cube is very specific, has same height, same width, same length, but boxes, draw a box is a website out there, which is really interesting. But if you know how to draw a box, a lot of things are made up of boxes. You live in a box, your room is a box, your bed is a box, your cereal comes in a box, your car is kind of like a box. Everything you see is kind of like can be put in a box. Even you kind of are kind of made up of a box, or you have height, width, and length, right? That's 3 dimensions. How can you draw in 3 dimensions? Well, learn to draw boxes, right? So here we go. We're going to learn how to draw boxes here. The thing with boxes. Hey, here we go. Well, let's grab out the cube here. That's a box, right? So here's a box. This drawing, this is really interesting. What's crazy is it's really just a square. A box is just a square. That's all it is. A square's in space. And this is a plane. How many sides on a box? Really? It's just a dice. 6, right? So if you know a
Oh,
dice,
sorry.
it's all good. You're welcome. This is your first lesson. That's awesome. All right, we're stepping it up. So here we go. A box but when you move it in space, you start seeing the other sides. You really can only see 3 sides at the most. There's 6 sides, but you can only see 3 at the most. The least is 1, right? And then you have 2, and then you have 3. Try to move around. Cubism tried to do that, where you see see 4 sides, and that's you can only see 3 sides. You can only see half of what's really there, half of reality. There's 6 sides. I mean, you can move this around any way you can. But really learning to draw and see boxes and see everywhere and see this stuff and break things down. You can actually, am I upside down? I'm upside down. There we go. That's better. Um, learn to see and see that form. Here we go. So let's draw this. Um, boom, boom, boom. So practice drawing squares. Oh, somebody has to use the bathroom. My granddaughter, 3-year-old, potty training her. Actually, she's already potty trained, but she's somebody's in there. Edit that out. Here we go. So what's happening is things move back in space. All right. So we have our square, and as things move, things go back in space. This is a plane, right? And like I said, there's only 3 planes you can see at the most. But let's start with 1. As you move this comes back. Things that are closer are bigger, and things that are further away are smaller. So that's what's happening. But how much is that angle? All it is really angles. All right, so let's draw just 2 sides of the square. Well, you can practice with 1 square. Let's just practice for the heck of it. Doing 1 square. I'm using a ballpoint pen again. And squares. Squares are good practices because you're practicing trying to get the same height, same width. Right? Could be a box if we not make it a square. All we need to do is just make it a little bit longer, and it's not a cube anymore. It becomes a block. We'll say blocks. All right, so here we go. There's a square. And then if we make one side a little bit wider and one side a little bit thinner, then it's actually going back into space. And this is where we get into perspective, right? Because these lines start actually going to a vanishing point. But that's where you really need to learn perspective. That would be the next step. But before we get to that step, learn to see angles, right? Because these two would go to one vanishing point. And then we'd go back on this side. And this is where 2-point perspective comes in. And it usually goes on that same line, Actually, not usually, all the time. It needs to always go to on that same line, the same horizon line. So where these 2 points meet, it doesn't matter how long these are, it would meet at the same, on the same point. But that's perspective. That comes later. But look at that. Here we have a cube. It looks like a cube, right? Or a box. As it goes back, it actually gets thinner as well. Here, this side is closest to us, and then this is further away. And if we were to do the other squares that are in it, that's a good try to break this into thirds. 1, 2, 3. Do the same thing over here. Break this into thirds. 1, 2, 3. And on this side, 1, 2, 3. And try to make them evenly. It actually gets smaller as it gets further back as well. And these lines here connect and connect and would go to that vanishing point as well. And this would go back to the vanishing point as well. In theory right now, because I'm actually drawing it out with a horizon line and all that stuff. This is just practice. This is really good practice. And as these lines go back, they get closer together as well. This line's wider here. It's wider right up here. See how wide it is? And then as it gets back, it gets smaller and smaller as because it's going back in space. So that's kind of like a cube, two-sided cube. You just got to practice. All right. So now what's happening is that's our point of view. If it's below our eye level, like this is right at our eye level. If it's below our eye level, usually things are below our eye level. We're looking down on things. So we're actually seeing the top of stuff. There's always kind of like a point that's the closest to us. There's one point, right? And what's crazy is all these are lines. So it just takes 2 points to make a line. So got to see the points. The points that closest to us here, that's this point right here. Right? I'm exaggerating on the holding it, but this line would just come down there. And then these lines going back would go back into space, back up like that. Because it's going to our horizon line up there, horizon line, because it's below our eye level. This horizon line is also known as our eye level. Now, when you're drawing boxes, you really got to look at the angles, and just practice, really practice, and maybe watch some videos and stuff like that too. And then when you get to perspective. All right. These 3 lines here actually go to our 3 directions. All right. So this would go to one vanishing point, and the vanishing point could be off our paper. And then this line would go to another vanishing point over there. And then this one would be going to another vanishing point below us. That would be 3 points. And this is what here we go. Usually the verticals don't exaggerate that much. If you just do them straight up and down, that also works. And straight up and down, that also works. Usually it depends on how big things are and depends on how close you are to things. But a lot of times these 3 things are just straight up and down. You really don't even notice some things, but they do get a little bit thinner or smaller as things go further away. I mean, even just at this distance, one hand is bigger than the other, and this is not a big distance. This is about the distance of this pen. See this pen? I'm going to put this pen, I'm resting my hand on that pen, and then this hand down here. But notice how big one hand is compared to the other, and that's just this distance, right, to the camera, right? This distance, my hand is on that pen, and then you can see, right? So things that are, I mean, just in this distance get smaller as they go back. So even here, this gets a little smaller. This line is closest to us. And then it goes back here. This goes back in line to space. These 2 lines will converge at your vanishing point way out there, right? And you just got to draw. There's a 250 box challenge where you just draw 250 boxes. This is just level 1 of drawing boxes. So find other explanations, and I have actually. There's other ones out there. But this should go up to that same to a vanishing point on the horizon line, which is also your eye level. You were looking down at this. That's pretty good. And then we got this point, and this goes back to that vanishing point over there, and this goes back to the vanishing point. Now, what they don't usually explain is this is a plane. Now, if you look at a mirror, not a mirror, or something, a picture on a wall, you'll see, sometimes you'll see this, actually like this, like you look on a wall, and if you're at an angle, you'll see the picture frame. You'll see the picture frame kind of looking like this. It's like, what's going on? If you're looking at it at an angle, you'll see this side's bigger, this side's smaller. This is the plane. Learn to see planes. Look for planes. Even at a door. Look at a door. You're probably in a room right now. Look at the closest door to you and look at what's happening, right? Look at the angles. The verticals usually are vertical because you're looking straight at it. But then look at the angles. Look at the angles. If it's away from you, does it go down? Does it go up? Even use your pen like this and looking for angles, right? You're looking for angles and trying to draw what you see. That's the best way to do. practice your drawing is by observing and drawing. All right, there's a box. And with this box can be all kinds of stuff. Once you learn to draw boxes and see boxes and observe boxes, then you can do what they did with this face and break it up into other parts. You can make it into let's see, we can make this into a truck or whatever we'd like. Put another box here, another box there, and make it go down. Make a truck. Here we go, like a. Let me see. Let's make a little truck. This would be the top of the truck. Here, it's like a moving truck, a little moving truck with some ovals in here. Some lights as it goes back. These lines would be going back at an angle. You see, and this is just a simplified little truck here. I mean, I can put more detail, more stuff, all the icing on the cake. But if you see these big shapes, I mean, that's half the battle right there. Half the battle. Or I can make this into a stove if I wanted to. There's a stove. Oh yeah, boxes and cubes are everywhere. The thing is to learn to see the angles. You're gonna have to go like this and actually look at it and see, okay, that angle, and observe and practice and practice and practice and look at what you're drawing. Okay, I'm gonna draw my stove. I'm gonna look to see the angles. I'm gonna look to see, what do I see? Yeah, it's and that's pretty crazy. There's a stove, or you can make it into a washing machine, all kinds of stuff. All right, there we go. That's a cube in a box. All right. 26, we lost half of you. No, I don't know how many we start off with. All right, let's